tunes and tomfoolery starring Jerry Springer, along with Gene Galvin and me. I'm Megan Hills. We're recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy
And here he
home
is, ladies and gentlemen, the
every
one,
day
the only,
eating that.
Jerry Springer.
But in fairness, how do we know the audience is brilliant?
They are.
Is there a, we ought to have a,
We test them all before they come in. They all have
Yes.
to go through analysis.
see, that is not how my regular show is introduced.
No, it's not.
They never say in front of a brilliant studio audience, it's Jerry.
No, why is that, Jer? Let's look at that.
Let's not. I have a couple of years left.
Couple
on the
more years on that
contract.
contract.
Yeah. Oh, I have expenses. People don't. Yeah.
I know. You got to pay for
By
this
the way,
podcast.
We're going to be talking about the first presidential debate, which happened
Yeah.
last night. People who listen live, and listeners listening to the archive, you can listen live. You simply go to jerryspringer.com, click Listen Live, as well as we're on Facebook Live.
Yes.
So if you go to the Jerry Springer Facebook page, click like, then that news feed will come to your news feed
Yeah.
daily, and you can see the broadcast live on Facebook Live. So we're going to talk about the presidential debate in a few minutes, and
Yep.
Jerry, we're going to beg
Yeah.
you to kind of really wade into that as well
Beg,
as
baby, beg.
you got it.
That's weird.
And I know.
That is weird.
And also,
I should say to you, beg, baby.
Yeah, that never happened.
That's weird
Mwah.
too. Where have I heard that before?
If I had a nickel.
Yeah.
and Daniel Kemish, who is from Portugal, originally from England.
No, he's from England and now lives
But for
working in
25,
Portugal.
many years lived
Oh,
in Portugal.
he's lived in Portugal
Oh,
for
yeah, yeah.
25 years? Oh.
Well, a long time,
Yeah.
because his family moved there most of the time of his life. But anyway, we'll get into that with Daniel. That's coming up. His music is wonderful, original music. We're going to be hearing that. Let me mention something. You know the emails we get the most? There are two areas where we get lots of emails. We get a lot of emails on the Unlimited Mile Project, but I've talked about
He's
that.
got one email.
anybody.
He's got one email.
The highest number of emails, I probably get 2 or 3 a week. is-
Blowing up the inbox.
Holy
Blowing it up. What is it, Gene?
What is behind the ugly curtain at the Folk School Coffee Parlor?
It's not ugly, it's artistic.
Well, here's what I was thinking. I
It's a
would
shower.
do. I'm gonna get up and pull the curtain back. You guys describe it because
Okay.
Okay.
not
Well,
everybody.
this is great.
This is live, folks.
Look at that curtain. Really? What is behind
What's
there?
behind? Oh, it's a stationary tub. And a mop.
Oh, wait, someone's taking a shower.
It is. It's a shower.
It's a tub.
And a, how
What
about
is it
that?
called?
A slop
A
sink.
slop sink.
Okay.
There's not even a shower in there. I
There's
thought
not.
there was a shower.
What mean?
No.
Yeah.
It's a sink.
That's why they put the curtain there, though.
Yeah.
This is a minute of our life we're never going to get back.
Listen, if people are
Just
writing
not like
emails,
that. We're looking at a
answer
slop
the
sink.
question. You know, they
Yeah.
were wondering. Hey, by the way, last week you talked about your Bentley, the car that you own, your Bentley, and you were the one that said, and I thought it was a pretty interesting comment. You said, what's the difference between
Nope.
a Bentley and a porcupine, and
No,
a porcupine,
Gene, that was
the
you?
pricks roll on the outside. My brother Jim heard that. He called
Oh.
me.
Oh.
And he didn't think it was so funny because my brother Jim.
What
God
kind of
bless
car
him,
does he have?
There's the point. You know this because you've met him. He has
Yes.
not made a lot of money in his life, as my brother Jerry and I have.
Yeah.
And Jim
The very lucrative
Jim-
lifestyle.
even has to work on his own car. So he went into a part shop the other day, and he said to the guy, "Do you have a gas cap for a Kia?" And the guy said, "Well, actually, that's a fair trade."
I like that one. It's like the fix it again, Tony. You do good,
Fix
good
it
with
again,
car
Tony.
jokes. Look at you go.
Yeah, you do good car jokes. Yes.
You know what?
What?
We're heard in England.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, we are.
We just re-signed with them. It's actually very
Yes,
cool.
with
what's going
talk
on.
radio.
That's very cool.
In England, it is. And every Saturday night, they run our podcast as a radio show.
I think
It's kinda
that's
cool.
brilliant. I love it.
Well, see, that's what I was
Absolutely
going to
love it.
ask Megan if she would go British on us. And,
I'd go British
And
on
Daniel Kemish is from
I think
Britain.
I think
Yes.
it's
a little bit
gorgeous.
later.
And I was born there,
And
you
you were
know, and I
born
can
there.
still talk like this every once
Well,
in a while.
if you would like to offend an entire nation, you can. Let's not do that anymore.
Problem is, we all, which I told the audience before, you know, we all get our British accent from Dick Van Dyke
No.
and Mary Poppins.
It was so bad. He was bad in it, and you doing it was bad.
I do a bad Dick Van
It's
Dyke.
really impressively horrible.
Oh, yeah, but well, I'll tell you why I don't have a British accent, because when I came to America, I was 5, and for the first 2 or 3 years, in the first grade and on, well, I was several years in the first grade, but the kids would beat me up.
Because you talk silly.
Yes, and because I dressed silly, because Mom
Oh,
dressed,
that's
she dressed me in this blue suit.
Aww.
Because in England at that time, you didn't wear long pants until you were like 16.
Right.
Boys didn't. So
Turn of the century was a rough
Yeah,
time.
so I went to school in New York with my blue shorts, a jacket, a bow tie, a beret, and knee socks.
Whoa.
Yeah, the kids beat the crap out of me.
And somehow they got...
So you think I'm going to talk with a British accent again?
Nope.
No. No, it took time.
We should do a show in which you speak British.
Only, it's still English is the thing.
It is still. Well, I understand.
They would argue.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
They would argue they're the only country that speaks
That's
English.
true. We speak American English.
Oh yeah.
We'll work on that, Gene. That'll be fun.
If you get some action on, because I know you use, and we talked about this, and we don't judge it, because I think if we were your age, single, we'd all be doing the same thing,
You
which is
trying to get dates
online
on that
dating.
again? Online
Yeah,
dating?
and she does it
We're
while we're
doing
doing the show. She does it in real time. So if there is
Yes, I
somebody
do.
who you swipe left or right, which way you swiping?
Left is bad.
Because you're
right
on
is
Farm
good.
Girl, aren't
I'm
you? Or no, you're on, not Christian Mingle, you're on eHarmony.
Farmer's
eHarmony.
Is that what you use,
Farmers
eHarmony?
It's farmers only, and I'm not on it.
Yeah, you're not on it.
It's Christian Mingle. I'm not on that. eHarmony.
What's Bumble?
Bumble is actually pretty cool, and I'm not on that, but it's run by the women that used to work for Tinder. They went and started their own app, and it's like female run. Like the women have to make the first move. You have to talk to the guy first. The guy has 24 hours to respond. If he doesn't, like, he's gone forever. You can't ever
Oh.
see his profile again.
That's what happened to me.
That explains why you're not getting the phone calls.
No.
No, it's actually pretty cool. But I'm not on Bumble, but we
What's
know
Bumble?
about it. We just talked about it.
Oh, that's
Hey,
They're
Megan,
dating
hey,
service.
Megan, wow. Oh, my God. Oh, my
Holy
God.
cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we do a podcast? Do we?
Should we do a podcast? Let's do one.
Hey,
This went off the rails.
I didn't realize that was Bumble. Oh,
Clearly.
okay. That is.
That
So,
was.
What about J-Date?
What about J
You could
Date?
meet someone like me.
I certainly could.
Someone who's old, Jewish, and doesn't remember.
yeah.
My mother would be so proud.
But Gulf Stream.
He's a nice, but he has a
Golf
And a
yes.
Bentley.
Yes.
You
So,
win some, you lose some.
Do you think that Donald Trump has a cocaine habit? Was that what all the snorting was about last night?
and
No,
again,
he-
the king of the segues.
Yeah, he doesn't. No, he doesn't like cocaine. He just likes the way it smells.
It's,
So, Dr. Howard
But
Dean,
I do. Yes.
former
Yeah.
chairman of the Democratic Party, National Party, came out today saying, and he out-Trumped Trump, because, you know, Trump is famous for saying, well, I'm not saying that Hillary has a brain tumor, but, you know, there are a lot of people who say that. So that's what Howard Dean did today, and came out and said, I'm not saying he has a cocaine habit, but there are people who say that's why he was doing all of that sniffing. And by the way, I saw on Fox News, of all places, they pulled out clips every time he did it. And I was watching the thing and taking notes, because we do a podcast on this stuff, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, but and I disagree with Howard Dean for bringing it up. In other words, because that's something Trump would do
Yeah.
to Hillary, and it's just, it doesn't belong. Look, if there is an issue at any point, responsible people will find out about it, and then we'll deal with it. But I don't think in the middle of a presidential campaign with all the real reasons not to vote for Donald Trump, I don't want to start throwing out, I mean, that sounds to me like a conspiracy theory or whatever. You know, we don't need to be doing that. And when I saw, I'm just telling you what I felt. I'm sure there are a lot of people that disagree with me, but what I felt when I saw Howard Dean suddenly on television talking about this, I said, you used to be chairman of the party. Come on, we don't need to be talking about that kind of stuff. And because I don't want to take attention away for the very real reasons Donald Trump should not be elected president. And I don't care if he never touched a drink or a drug in his life, and I don't think he does drink, a drug in his life. He shouldn't be president of the United States because of his views and because of the, you know, his, I think, bigoted positions on race and et cetera. So I was uncomfortable with that. I don't think we need to go there. So I wish Howard Dean would stop that. You know, that's the kind of thing that gets going on social media. And, you know, and I think it has, to that extent, corrupted the political process because we spend half of these campaigns talking about issues that don't have to do with the future of the country. Right. That's the problem with it. Look, obviously, if he had a problem, we're going to find out about it, but we don't need to have the former chairman of the Democratic Party stand up and say, and he says it just like you said, Gene, just the way that Trump would say it. He was saying, well, I'm not saying because I don't think as a doctor you can make an analysis or prognosis over the television. And then he goes on and does it. You know, and he is a doctor. So he should have left it alone, I think.
Well, it's interesting, and we're going to ask you, Jerry, to kind of dig in on the presidential debate last night and talk about it. But before we do, I wanted to ask you to do one thing.
I think Hillary beat the hell out of that drug addict.
I love it.
Before we do that, I'm anxious that we continue to work towards setting the world record for how many times you can tell a joke. You were telling me
I'm
you
not.
saw
A
it.
bad
This
joke.
isn't a joke.
Yeah, what
Where
did
is that gentleman? The older gentleman?
He's right back there in the
Is
corner.
he back there?
Yeah, well, here he is. He just waved
Yeah.
to you.
And I'll talk a little bit louder. He was wearing a hearing aid.
Really?
And
I
just as I
hate
came
you.
in. No, I'm serious. And he's telling me, Jerry, this is the finest hearing aid money can buy. And I said, yeah, what kind is it? He said, 4 o'clock.
I'm going to punch you. I'm going to punch you in your nose.
How does that get a laugh every time? You guys are here
it's a crew.
every week.
It's the
Every
paid.
week. How does...
It's the paid people.
Yeah.
Paid
It's the
people in
paid
the
people
audience.
who
Who's the
laugh.
guy that didn't know it was Bumble?
I swear. I don't know.
There's Bumble and Bumble. Isn't that like a thing?
How do you
A
know
product?
that? It's a very expensive hair product. That's why
Well,
you know
do you
that.
think-
That's
Yeah.
why. My bad. Of course,
Yeah.
that's how you know it. No, it's a very good
Yeah,
hairline.
it comes with every Gulfstream.
Yeah, to just get a lifetime supply of Bumble and Bumble.
When I get on the plane.
Here you go, sir.
Because you don't want to fly with your hair messy.
No, dear Lord.
Well, why don't you get some windows for the plane? But anyway, Megan,
This is so unhinged.
Jerry,
You're wearing it. Yeah?
what did you... Let's all try to do that. See how many snorts and sniffs we
That's-
do.
What was he doing?
Hey, by the way, he is not likable.
No.
You know, in politics, connectability is maybe 60, 70% of the issue. Likability. I don't think Donald Trump, I mean, I'm for Hillary for 1,000 reasons, so I'm not even close to, you know, like looking, saying, oh, I dig the guy, so there's nothing likable about him in terms of what he projected. And my God, his enemy last night was split screen television technology.
And he should have known better. He's made his living in, well, lately his living in television. And how does he not know that when you're on television for 90 minutes, then the camera's always on you, to stop making faces, to stop, you know, to stop falling asleep, to stop. He really looked like he was wearing out towards the end. I mean, talk about stamina. He's the one that kind of, after the first 20 minutes, he was pretty solid. I didn't agree with his positions, but it was a solid performance. And I said, oh, boy, this could be trouble for us. And then he just, he became unhinged. He really did. It was...
So what's your analysis?
Oh.
Dig into it a little bit
Okay.
on the debate generally.
Well, there were two it was a different debate because the two people debating had different goals. And Hillary's goal simply was, the whole country knows she's incredibly smart, totally knowledgeable, probably the brightest person ever to run for president who hasn't already been president. Everyone knows that. But what she had to do was excite the base, because the fact is there are more Democrats in America than Republicans if everybody votes. So her goal is she doesn't have to get millions of independents. She really has to get the Democrats to come out and vote. If the Democrats come out and vote, looking at the electoral map, she wins the presidency. So that's her goal. Just, show and be liberal, because that's the base of the Democratic Party. In other words, don't just be there for health care, be there for education, be there for early childhood education, all those kind of social issues that liberals, we liberals really believe in. That's where she should go. And she did. And she was solid. She met her challenge. Trump's challenge was totally different. And Trump's challenge was not unlike Ronald Reagan's in 1980. If you remember, in 1980, Jimmy Carter, who was the incumbent, was way down in the polls. People weren't crazy about Jimmy Carter because of the oil embargo, because of the hostages being held in Iran, and it was everyday bad news about Jimmy Carter. In fact, the major news anchor back in 1980 was Walter Cronkite, and he used to end every nightly broadcast by saying, "That's the way it is. This the 13th of December, 1979 or 80 or whatever. The 423rd day that the hostages have been held in Iran." In other words, he would end every broadcast by telling you how many days it's been since President Carter couldn't get our hostages freed. It probably was can you imagine today a president doing that? The Republicans would go, the media doing that, the Republican Party would go crazy. But Cronkite did that every single night. So Carter in the polls was horrible, was in terrible shape. Disapproval ratings, amazing. But America knew that they didn't like Carter, but they didn't yet know whether they could trust this B-movie actor, Ronald Reagan, Bedtime with Bonzo. They didn't know, and he was considered a real right-winger at the time, whether or not they could trust him with a finger on the button, not unlike the concerns we have for Donald Trump. So that whole first debate, the only question was not how Carter would do. Everybody knew Carter. They either liked him or didn't like him, but he was the known entity. He didn't even have to show up. The question was, America would now look at Ronald Reagan and see, is he this crazy guy that's going to blow up the world? He's going to get those commies, because that's how he built his reputation, anti-communist? Or is he a rational person? And Ronald Reagan, to his credit, came across as your uncle. Very warm, very engaging, seemed reasonable, not positions we liked necessarily, and as soon as people saw that he wasn't going to blow up the world, the very next day, boom, Reagan runs ahead of Carter in the polls and went on to win in a landslide. That's the importance of that first debate in 1980. This was the same thing this year. There are a lot of people that just don't like Hillary, but they know she's smart. They already know their feelings about Hillary. What has kept this race close is that, well, maybe they don't like Hillary, but Trump's crazy. And they had to see, and remember, with 100 million people watching through various mediums, with all those people watching, most of the people were really watching Trump for the first time. I mean, they all heard about the jokes and the one-liners that they see a clip on the news. But unless you're a political groupie, you've never really sat there and didn't personally go to a rally. You never really sat there and listened to Trump. This was 90 minutes where he had to stand up there. So America looked at Trump, and the only thing this debate was about was, could Trump keep it together? Did he look like a president? And I don't mean just physically look like a president, but did he have the command of the issues, the knowledge, the reasonableness? Or was he this buffoon and, you know, this crazy guy just yelling and insulting everybody? And unbelievably, he went back to being the Trump that most of us know. He just, you know, became unhinged. He had a good first 20 minutes, and then he became crazy. I mean, just started rambling about things, you know, that had, you know, you bring up Rosie O'Donnell in the debate for President of the United States, leader of the free world? I mean, can you imagine being a Trump advisor or Roger Ailes, and you're sitting there, you're going, oh my God. Someone pull the plug, cut the cord. So, and that's what happened. He failed the test he had to pass. Now, does that mean the election's over? No. In today's world of the social media, every day is a new universe. What it did do is at least it stopped the trend. It stopped he stopped the bleeding of you know, of the Clinton campaign, you know, because he was getting closer and closer in the polls, and some polls even going ahead. So that slide, I think, stopped last night. And so that's the best news for Hillary, is that, whoa, okay, people got to look at him, and now we can, you know, move on with those issues. That, I think, is the major takeaway. Also, Trump, there really is something wrong with him. I mean, you don't want to be extreme in saying there's some mental issue or there's some psychological issue, but his view of women, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, even today, the day after the debate, he goes on Fox Morning News and starts ripping again on the Miss Universe winner of a few years ago, when he said she's too hefty, she's put on too much weight, and she's an 18-year-old girl, and starts insulting her. And the girl went on to have an eating disorder, and she's done interviews on that, and he just berates her. He does. He calls women pigs, fat, just horrible things. And just no sense of decorum, no sense of decency. And I don't know how he can fix that. So I think the independent voters, which he needs, remember, Hillary can win with the base, and obviously a few more votes. But the real problem for Trump is he can't just win with white working-class men. There are not enough of them. The demographics of the country has changed. So he's got to be able to get suburban women, too, not to mention minorities. And yeah, then I'll quit on this. They asked the question about, first they asked the question about race, and his answer is law and order. Is that how we improve? I'm not saying we don't have a crime problem, but I thought the question had to do with how do we improve racial relations.
Yeah, and stop and frisk. Add that to it.
And stop and frisk, yeah.
African-American people love that one.
Yeah.
But the best, this was another time when Roger Ailes and all his people must have just wanted to grab Trump by the neck, was when he talked about how how he deals with African Americans. Oh, because when he was a landlord and he had that lawsuit back in '73 of not renting to African Americans, and by the way, he never denied it. He just said other people got sued too, and we settled. But then, to show that he's really a good guy on race, he says, by the way, I have this hotel in Palm Beach. What?
And he said it was a tough area.
Palm Beach. Even I can't afford to live there. And they have either 2 or 3 African Americans living there. Or maybe they're just passing through. But his club is open to African Americans. Oh, if you have $250,000. But it's open. And that was his example of, he says, ask them. They really like me.
Get both of them on the phone.
Is he 7 years old? I mean, it's just unbelievable. Why does any serious person think he can be president of the United States? It's not a serious discussion. That's why I keep saying this election isn't about Hillary or Trump. It's about us. You know, don't be walking around saying, oh, lesser two evils, who to pick. No, no, no. We know the difference between the two, and it's going to be on us. We will pay the consequences of it. We're not going to be able to say to a kid's generation, well, we didn't know. We know. It's on us.
Hey, when you talk about presidential debates, you often end up talking about optics. Would you agree, Jerry? And so we were talking
Yes.
about the split screen before. And
Yep.
Hillary, did she not look relaxed?
Hillary-
You know, she had some willies probably in the first 2 or 3 minutes, as everybody does, even in a sporting event or whatever. But then she kind of settled in. She smiled. She laughed. Her facial expressions didn't give anything away. Trump, on the other hand, was scowling and face all twisted. But here was another thing. He made fun a lot in the primary debates of Marco Rubio for when he did the response to the State of the Union and drank water repeatedly, and did it even during the debates. Did anybody else notice that
Yeah.
Donald Trump went to the water glass? The first time he did it, he had to reach down low to get it.
Yeah.
So you knew that, you know, it was very noticeable.
Yep.
And he kept going to the water, going to the water. And I was watching that after he's implied that Hillary doesn't have stamina, has physical problems. As soon as he went down, I thought, I'm going to watch to see if she drinks water at all. She did not one time.
I know.
And then ended up not looking dehydrated on top of it.
I was screaming at the television set because I had this line I wanted to get to. At some point, after a few times of doing that, Hillary should have just turned to him and says, 3 more times you tie Rubio.
Oh, that would have been a great line.
There would have been stunned silence, and then suddenly everyone would have understood, and it would have lit up. You're just
that's
3
where she-
behind Rubio. And
That is
You
a
should have been there for
great-
that one, Jerry, because that would
I
have been
could have
good.
been a
That could have been,
contender.
that could have been
That
the quiz.
That really would have been classic. I love it.
Hey, you know, one other thing, do you think, there's been a lot of hits on Obamacare in the last 3 or 4 months, because there's some things going on with insurance companies and games are being played. And Obamacare has given health care to, 20 million people or so that didn't have it, some
Yes.
large number of millions. And I wonder if, before this election is over, if like in the next debate or the third debate, he really comes at her, and this is not something she would pull out of nowhere, she'd have to give this thought previously, to say, you know what, elect me and we're going to go Medicare for all, single payer. If you want to get millennials and Sanders people jacked up, that would go a long way to do it. And frankly, I think it's where we're going to end up having to go to fulfill the promise of universal health care.
We should have done
it's
it-
what she talked about when they called it Hillary Care.
exactly.
So I wish she would do that.
I hope so, and I think that is where it ultimately ends up. We said all along,
Number
when-
6, Megan, that's all. And this is Ludlow water, too, excuse me, this is good water.
His name is Josh.
Wait a second.
yeah, wait a
You're
second.
talking to a guy right now on Farm Boy or
It's
something?
not far.
Well, I don't know.
No,
I'm humble.
it's Moskowitz. It's J-Date.
It's J.
Megan,
Josh Moskowitz.
dead serious. Are you talking to somebody
Yeah.
right now?
I am.
Really? Could get him on the phone.
Megan,
I wanna talk.
have him wait a second, write your phone number down. We don't want to give this out. And text him the phone number. Can you jack your phone in?
Can you do it,
I think
David?
we're going to put this call.
All right.
And by the way, this is the kind of guy that your uncle thinks you should be dating, is a guy that's willing to come on a live podcast
That's true.
and make his pitch to us.
Oh, for crying out
To
loud.
get to you, he's got to come through us.
That's true.
What?
All right.
I'm suddenly a pimp?
Megan, please text him
I just
and
said-
say.
I just said, if you're
You're on
willing.
the air right now.
Yeah.
Jerry Springer podcast, heard live,
Could you imagine?
We've
jerryspringer.com.
yeah, he knew, like I told him about the
Oh,
podcast.
what he
and
was
stuff.
doing? Because
Yeah.
if you just suddenly said
No,
you're
no,
on
I
the air
just
with
suddenly
Jerry
said
Springer,
you're going to be on air if
I
you want to
will
call.
take his life.
All right, well, we're going to get a
Where
phone
did things
number.
go wrong?
Yeah.
We'll
This
see.
is good. This
This
is
is-
using this podcast for
Tell you
good.
what.
Yeah.
This is different from your
Beauty
TV
of live
show.
radio.
Hey, by the way, and we're going to hear from Daniel Kemish here in just a second. I want to send some props out. You know, in my professional life, my whole career, I worked in public education.
You had a job?
Urban
You had-
high school
Actually,
education.
When you got paid
He did.
And it's how I made my living. It was my passion. So, you know, this protest that's going on and growing across America, started by Kaepernick, who is quarterback for, is it Washington Redskins or?
No, 49ers.
For the 49ers. So now it's spreading. Who would have thought, by the way, that one guy
Yeah.
taking a knee is what he did, as I recall,
Yes.
during the national anthem, to make a statement not against America and the men and women who fought bravely for this country, who we all honor, all of us, and he does too. But to get racial justice, because we're not quite there yet, made great strides, not quite there yet. So check this out, Withrow High School. I spent my life at a place called Hughes High School, most of my years. Urban High School, Withrow High School, where my wife graduated, by the way, has over the years become wonderful, but an urban high school. Its entire football team's African American.
Yeah.
They played a game 2 Friday nights ago at a white suburban school, probably mostly white, if not all white.
Ooh.
And they did a protest. 4 or 5 players did it. Last week at another suburban, vastly predominantly Caucasian high school, the entire team but 3 joined the protest. It was raised fists, all very disciplined, no disrespect. They faced, I think, the flag, but they didn't pledge,
Right.
put their hands over their hearts. Their Caucasian football coach stood near them with his hand over his heart as they protested. In other words, he didn't join them.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's white is
Yeah.
probably neither here nor there. The kids love him, and he's.
Yeah.
But he said, "No, I'm not going to do this," and he didn't. The Cincinnati Public Schools put out a PR statement, and I was very proud of them because I teach school PR as an adjunct professor in Cincinnati Xavier University, and I love what they did. They put out a statement that respected the kids, made the point, no repercussions, no punishment, and they have a right to do that anytime they choose. And I thought, that's actually kind of
That's very progressive.
even in
That-
2016, that's a respectful and legally correct position for them to take. Anyway, I just want to bring attention to that. We may be having trouble with the phone connection, so we may move this to the next podcast. And you know what? That's a test of that fellow. If he wants to,
He said he's called twice and got David's voicemail. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always calling that
Now,
number.
how many
You get-
times have we used that excuse? Well, I called, but it went right to.
That's what he
All right, so anyway, hey, let's bring in Daniel Kremish, who is our performer of the evening, and as Daniel's coming in to set up, let me tell you a couple things about him. This is an interesting guy in that he writes his own music. He performs, obviously, around the world. He was born in England at a young age, moved to
Most people are.
southern Portugal. And is traveling around America busking. If you don't know what that is, busking is performing. People pay, but it's voluntary. You put a hat out, you put some container out, people throw some money in.
Yeah.
He's here at the Folk School Coffee Parlor, and this place is a kind of a headquarters for traveling troubadours, of which one is Daniel. And so, Daniel, welcome to the Jerry Springer podcast, first of all.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you've got to work on that accent. Really.
No, his is good, Jer. His is good.
Good day, Bruce.
All
I don't
right,
know.
let's hear a song, and we're going to chat.
Yeah,
with
let's
you
do a
too.
song first.
All right.
Okay, so this is a song off the new record. Well, I'm blue and I kick a heart as it chased me out of town. The bag on my back and the saddle's packed with the finest neat moonshine. I get up high to the highest ridge and I go down low to the river below. I do anything to get them off my back. They chased me down to Jackson and across the Delta Plains. I swore them blind it were my stuff and the town that all run dry. They had a price on my head from a capture death. No one ever let out a breath. Everybody liked to drink in town. Cause I'm the finest neat moonshiner in the mid-north and the west. There's a lot of others like me, but they all know I'm the best. I got a real good knack to turn your water into whiskey. We all know we won't ever make it to that. They called me Memphis, I made it for the line. They threw me in the slammer where they read me on my right. I swore them blind it were my stuff. Someone had set me up for this, but you can tell that's the judge in 3 days' time. So I sat there behind the bars, trying to plan my getaway. They'd stash the pack and the back from my back in the corner of the room. Oh, if only I could reach them, bust right out of here, blow a hole right there through that wall. Cause I'm the finest neat moonshiner in the mid-north and the west. There's a lot of others like me, but they all know I'm the best. I got a real good knack to turn your water into whiskey. We all know we won't ever make it to that. Cause I'm the finest neat moonshiner in the mid-north and the west. There's a lot of others like me, but they all know I'm the best. I got a real good knack to turn your water into whiskey. We all know we won't ever make it to that. Oh, we all know we won't ever make it to that. Oh, we all know we won't ever make it to that.
Whoa!
Yeah. That's a good song.
That is great.
And that's from, it's Daniel Kremish, by the way.
Chemish.
From
Sorry.
Kremish.
Chemish.
Chemish.
English. It's English, apparently. Well, I don't know. It might be German.
And yeah, right. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
And,
Bob's sorry.
Yeah.
Janine.
And your latest record is Fools and Money.
Fools and
correct?
Money, yep.
And people can hear your music how? Do you have a website or social media?
Yeah, I've got pretty much all the standard stuff. Website, it's just danielchemish.com, Facebook, Twitter. It's on iTunes, on Spotify, all those sort of websites.
I'd listen to him read a dictionary. I love your voice.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Do we have one here?
I know.
Start with the A's.
Start with the A.
Apple.
Start with A.
And Daniel's story is pretty interesting because what you do, we were talking before the show, this winter you're headed for Austria, correct?
Yeah, correct.
You've done mountaineering, technical climbing, mountain trekking, all of that, correct?
Yeah, before I was a professional at losing money, I was I was working as an outdoor instructor, in England mainly, but I worked out in France as well for various years, raft guiding, kayaking, anything that was a bit dangerous and had potential to kill myself. It was great.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Well, coming here is as dangerous as you can get.
So I've heard.
Being on the Jerry Springer.
Would you do a second song for us?
I would do, yes, I'd love to.
Daniel Chemish.
This is a song called Trouble Girl. It's actually, I think, probably a little bit about you.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
It's about those
Were you
those
the
girls,
one making those calls?
those ones that go out on a Friday night just to confuse us men as much as they possibly can. You know exactly who you are as well. speed, cruising down the interstate. She's a loaded gun. There's fire in her soul. She's tearing up the road at the speed of sound, and I'm slowing down for anyone. She's a joker in a 52 car trick. She races high when I only got 2 queens. She's a color green on the spinning wheel. You got your chips on the red and black and no turning back. She'll take you downtown. She'll go further than you want, maybe uptown. She'll break the rules once in a while. She's trouble. Oh, she's trouble. She's a trouble girl. Girls around, she'll break the new boys in. It's just a game. She'll take you in the end. You might not know it, but she'll show it. It's a house in your family to know it. She's a loaded gun. She's aces high. She'll break the rules before she's even tried. She'll take you downtown. She'll go further than you want, maybe uptown. She'll break the rules once in a while. She's trouble. She's trouble. She'll take you downtown. She'll go further than you want, maybe uptown. She'll break the rules once in a while. She's trouble. She's trouble. She's a trouble girl.
Daniel Kemish, you can hear him at danielkemish.com or through a lot of social media. Are you performing anywhere in the next month or so that we should tell people about in the U.S.?
Yes, so I head up to New York State tomorrow. Is it Rochester? I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm
Yes.
up in Rochester for the next couple of days. Then I head back down south of Toledo, and then I'm down in where am I then? Head down to Nashville. I'm in Atlanta on the 13th. A few other places around. I'm currently
Oh, that's
booking
great.
last-minute shows as well. So
Yeah, this is very typical of what we do on Jerry Springer Podcast, is find up-and-coming songwriters, performers, and groups, and get them on the show, get them exposure. And it's very high-quality stuff. We appreciate your coming
no,
by.
thank you so much for having me.
Would you do Irene Goodnight? And you have a fellow UK guy here, and I don't mean University of Kentucky, the
Yeah.
United
Go
Kingdom.
Cats.
Yeah. I tell you
Jerry
what, why don't
Springer.
we sing it in Portuguese? Yeah.
Yeah, because I've practiced that one.
You do speak, do I assume you speak Portuguese, right?
Yeah, I speak
kind
it,
of
yeah.
a complicated language, not really Spanish, is it? Or
I mean,
French, Spanish.
I don't know. For me, I learnt it at such a young age. I mean, Mum threw me into school at the age of 6. I didn't speak a word of
Did
Portuguese.
you get hurt?
Yeah, just straight out of the car. Just drive by.
yeah, well, maybe.
But no, I mean, but it's amazing at that age how quickly you pick up languages. And I mean,
Yeah.
I sort of picked it up, and then I was sort of on and off in Portugal for the last 25 years. I mean, my parents bought a house when I was 3. So over the years of sort of, I mean, my dad tried to retire about 26 times. Kept having to go back to work because he ran out of money.
Yeah.
So we were doing sort of gradually building the house, and in that time, Mum would we'd just moved so many different schools. I mean, I can't count the number of schools I've been to.
How many
Wow.
languages do you speak?
I speak fluently Portuguese and English, and then I speak a little bit of French, a little bit of German. Mainly the essentials, sort of how to order a beer and
Yeah.
say thank you very much.
I'm always
Yeah.
amazed whenever
That's about
I've
it.
traveled through Europe how many languages people speak. It's uncommon to speak one language. Usually
Yeah.
people speak. And English is sort of the universal economic language. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of stuff in English. I mean, and it comes to when you're booking as well. And booking in Europe is so hard because you're working with so many different languages, and the French don't like the English, so that never helps. I tell them I'm Portuguese. They don't really like anyone, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of hard when you're working in lots of languages, and you go from one country and it's got completely different way of life to another country. I mean, Spain, they go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and get up and then sleep for 3 hours in the afternoon. France just shuts up at 6 o'clock in the evening, and that's it until, Monday.
Yeah, I had the same. I remember when the first time I went to Germany, actually, because my parents spoke German, but I didn't. But I learned some phrases, and first time I went to Germany, I got off the train, and I had to go to the men's room, and I couldn't think of the word for, which is toilet. Yeah, so I just said, "Ich mach's in meine Hosen," which means I'm making my pants. And the conductor showed me.
Not unlike in Italy.
Actually.
Where it happened again.
Yeah. You're saying you soiled yourself?
I didn't know how to say soiled. No. Actually, that is a true story. I had to go to the men, so I did say that to the conductor, and he kind of looked at me like, but he did show me what
Who's this kid?
Daniel, I apologize.
Sorry,
for
Daniel.
We've all been there.
I'm sorry you had to
We've
hear
all
that.
been there.
Ich mach's in meine Hosen. Ja? Natürlich.
I think your German's very good.
Yes.
It's English that needs work.
I didn't understand it, but it sounded right.
Yeah.
Hey, would you take us out on Lead Belly's Good Night, Irene? Jerry Springer will join you, a fellow Brit.
Okay, let's hit it now, you know?
No. No.
Don't you put me off?
Yes.
Last Saturday night I got married. Me and my wife settled down. Now me and my wife, we are parted. So I take a stroll through town. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. See you in my dreams.
From England, Jerry Springer.
Sometimes I live in the country. Sometimes I live in town. Sometimes I take a great notion to jump in the Jolly River and run.
Sorry.
Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. I'll see you in my dreams.
Y'all come back now, you hear? Bye-bye.